Right.
Who abandoned you when you were young?
Everyone.
Okay, are they back? Have they came back?
Yeah.
Oh, but you still reap the repercussions of their abandonment, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't make it okay. You're still having to deal with that shit now, even though they returned and they came back.
Yeah.
It doesn't make them coming back atone for what the impact or the impairment they caused or you engulfed in because of that experience.
Yep.
So when you leave...
But it made me stronger.
In what ways?
It made me be able to deal
not dealing
with what?
Abandonment.
No,
with
you're
detachment.
still not dealing with abandonment.
No, because now I've learned.
You just learn to function in the abandonment. You are not stronger. You just built up your tolerance to the dysfunction. This is... Ooh, Nick. You sure he's been to therapy? I feel like he's lying at this point.
To be like, okay.
And deal with what? Because if you're fleeing, you're not dealing with your emotion.
No, because I understand it's a reason and season for multiple things. So if I'm going to give you the time and the space that you need, and we'll handle it when we handle it. And it's not in my hands. I give it to the higher power. I give it to the Lord, and He's going to figure it out.
Every relationship's a direct reflection of who we are.
Absolutely.
We see in others who we are, not who they are.
Yeah.
I bet the Lord gets so tired of getting pulled into these conversations with these low-functioning men. I bet He gets so tired. Especially when Cam Newton was like, she was asking, he wanted more kids and he already got 8. I just want the Lord to bring them. Don't do it. Don't do it. The Lord is tired. He's tired. Leave the Lord alone.
Okay, so like with you, only because I'm in a place of not perfect at all, of meaning healing. I've done this healing work. It's been years. I maintain it. I do it every day.
Right.
It's literally, I see a man who is extremely broken, who has taken his brokenness and made the best of it, who has made many decisions that he feels that was great and contributed to a greatness of a big moving part of his life, but also contributed to some demise of a big part of his life, who is now trying to figure out, how do I take these moving parts and make them a collective whole, because I'm feeling a lot of brokenness and division and a lot of stuff that's going on. However, I see a man who at the core is a great man, has great character, wants to be better, wants to have better character, wants to show up for people better, wants to be the best father he could be, trying to figure out how he can do that, still figuring out a sense of self, stands on his square, stands on business.
Still creating more dysfunction with all these kids. I just can't get past all these kids. I'm sorry. I don't care how rich he is. If it was with one woman, it'd still be a lot of kids. But these are with different women in different households. We can't even call this polyamory. They're not even in the same household. Ooh, this is so dysfunctional.
Sometimes too much to where standing on that business can mess some things up. So what I'm saying is all those things I said I see in you are just the things that are really in me, because I can't see past myself. Okay.
Right.
And so when you're in a relationship and you're in this hostile argument or a calm argument and you decide to get up and walk out, you're not fleeing from what you keep saying is the argument or her anger. You're fleeing from the reflection of yourself. So when we think that we're fleeing from this conversation of what you're saying to me, I'm fleeing from the very best thing that I need, which is reflecting to me how I see you showing up with me, because you're just a mirror. And so
receive it. Hold your hands up. Receive it. She said something there. That's what you are fleeing from. You are fleeing from what people are seeing about you. That's what you don't want to face the facts, which I can see it, because people don't want to admit they're wrong. People don't want to admit that they've done something wrong. But sometimes you have to face it. To be a better person, you have to listen. Take it in. This person is telling you, this is how you make me feel when you do this. Listen to them. If you love them, listen to them.
If I can sit in that emotion with you, you have to have that awareness, right? Of saying, hold on, Nick, look, Like, it's a lot of stuff going on in you right now that just don't sit right with me because it's a direct reflection of who I am.
You ain't have to read me like that.
Yeah, she did. She had
But
to.
you know,
And let me go further, because we're talking about black men. So we're talking about fleeing.
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about fleeing. We can blame it on abandonment issues. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk about accountability, black men, when they're fleeing anything, fleeing from being a father, fleeing from being a husband, fleeing from the argument, fleeing from accountability, they're just fleeing from themselves.
Yep.
And that's why there's no personal self-growth, because words don't teach, experience does. And so if I can't sit in this experience with you, then what the hell am I learning from this experience? If every time I flee, I go back to my dysfunctional norm, where is the growth within myself? At this point, it becomes not even about you.
Right.
It becomes about Dr. Bryant trying to.
Look how he changed his position. That hit a nerve in him. That hit him deep. You see how he turned away from her? He didn't want to hear that. That struck a chord in him. That struck a nerve. That struck a nerve in him.
To be better for me, trying to be better for my husband who is to come, for my kids when I do happen to have children, because I'm not married or have kids yet.
Right.
But I always make sure any man I'm dating, any engagement I'm in.
He didn't even want to look at her. Did y'all see that during that whole exchange? That's what happens when you get hit with the truth like that and you can't run from it. You got to sit in it. You got to reflect on it. Hopefully he's listening. I doubt it though.
I'm here to make sure I can sit in this, I can atone in this, and I can get the experience that I want to take and create a new norm with. Because dysfunction didn't work for me, and it ain't working for you.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would say to that, because I agree with everything that you said, the only addendum or additive that I would put in.
Here we go.
I feel like the fleeing, whether it's in general, like you talk about what black men do, or specifically if it's you and I in a heated scenario, I'm fleeing from the lack of control.
Okay.
Because when there is no control, there's chaos. And in that setting, if you on high, I'm on high, and I know that this can only bubble over because neither one of us have control of the moment or of our emotions.
Right.
It's only going to get worse. So, and even in that,
I feel like at that point, like if you can't control yourself, the other person can't control themselves. Like, what are y'all doing? Y'all don't even need to be around each other. Like, if you can't control yourself, you don't even need to be dating anybody. Much less creating kids with them. Like, if it's to that point, I just don't understand his logic. And I think that's why these videos have gone so viral. We're trying to understand Nick and Cam's logic, and there is none. It's just dysfunction. It is so much dysfunction, and we're all shocked at the dysfunction. Because what he's saying just is... But I think if he listened to this, like if he goes back and watches this, I think he can start to pick up patterns. But right now these facts are just being thrown in his face, and he's trying to come up with a defense, which is normal. It's normal. But I think he goes back and watches this, he can see what she's talking about, and like if he really thought about it. And if he can actually go into therapy like he says he is, this wouldn't even be a surprise. Which, that's another reason why I don't believe he is seeing a therapist. Why is all this a shock? Why are you getting defensive about everything? Like, isn't this what you talk about with your therapist? Y'all never talked about anything that Dr. Cheyenne Bryant is bringing up to you? None of this came up? Anyway, guys, let's go on to the next part.